Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to a news cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Agumofwegbe. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Nightcomsat. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, says President Bola Tinubu will present the 2025 appropriation bill to the National Assembly. Akpabio made this known at plenary on the floor of the Senate, stating that the president has made his intention known to the National Assembly to present the 2025 budget to a joint session of the legislature on the 17th of December 2024. Akpabio also noted that the budget presentation will take place at the House of Representatives chamber. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has vowed to continue demolishing properties illegally built on government lands. It was reported that the minister has been criticized for embarking on a widespread demolition of houses in Abuja without due diligence and proper investigation. A construction company, Polosa Nigeria Limited, recently raised the alarm over a demolition notice issued by the Federal Capital Development Authority to demolish its estates in the Life Camp area of the nation's capital. The Senate has issued a warrant of arrest against the managing director of Julius Berger Nigeria PLC for persistently refusing to appear before its committee on works. The resolution followed a motion moved by the Senate Minority Whip, Senator Osita Ongo, in Abuja, which was co-sponsored by Senators Asuko Ekpeyong and Impigi Barinada. Senator Ongo informed the Senate that Julius Berger Nigeria PLC has repeatedly failed to honor invitations from the Senate Committee on Works. The committee says it had sought explanations regarding the project abandonment and the alarming variation of a contract from 54 billion naira to 194 billion naira. Vice President Kashim Shettima has presided over the 146th meeting of the National Economic Council at the State House in Abuja. The meeting expected to consider issues ranging from the state's report on state police and the 2025 fiscal year is arguably the last for the year 2024. The meeting had a reasonable number of governors in attendance, including those of Cross Rivers, Imo, and Gombe, among others, while some other states are being represented by their deputy governors. While a number of states have been proactive in the submission of their budgetary proposals to their state assemblies ahead of 2025, the federating states and their governors received presentations from members of President Bola Tinubu's economic team focusing on issues including the tax reform bill and other economic matters related to the 2025 fiscal year. In the meantime, the United Kingdom-born Conservative Party leader Kemi Badenoch has replied Vice President Kashim Shettima over a call to drop her Nigerian name. Badenoch had, during a visit to the United States, described Nigeria as a place where almost everything seemed broken, but the Vice President Kashim Shettima responded during a speech on migration in Abuja, accusing Badenoch of denigrating the country. He compared her to former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, a brilliant young man, he says, from India, who has never spoken negatively about his ancestral country, urging her to change her first name if she no longer wishes to identify with her homeland. In a reply to the Vice President, however, a spokesman for Badenoch says she stands by what she says and emphasized that Nigeria is not the country's public relations representative. The member representing Jos South and East Federal Constituency at the House of Representatives, Alfred Elia Ajang, has defected from the Labour Party to the All Progressives Congress (APC), claiming that the crisis in the Labour Party is the reason for his defection. This was contained in a letter read by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, during plenary. Also, governorship candidate of the Labour Party in the last election in Bayelsa State, Udengs Eradiri, and his running mate, retired Commander Benjamin Nathos, have announced their resignations from the party via a letter to the state chairman of the party in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State capital. The General Secretary of the Lagos State Chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, Folosho Ogorinde, has criticized the federal government's refusal to compensate landowners without buildings who were displaced by the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project. Folosho, while on the chat with the legal and property experts, described the policy as unconstitutional and unjust, as he noted that denying compensation for land undermines equity and justice. He said the 1999-year lease system in Nigeria further underscores the value of land as an asset, as this lease is renewable. He further stressed that if governments require compensation for the renewal of a lease or when public use necessitates land acquisition, individuals and private owners deserve similar recognition and compensation for their land when expropriated. The Managing Director and Chief Executive of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, Olubunmi Kuku, says 80% of emissions from the Murtala Mohammed International Airport emanated from electricity consumption. Olubunmi Kuku stated this during a stakeholder engagement on carbon emission management, which brought together stakeholders in aviation, including airline operators, fuel suppliers, and Bicotnin Aviation Service Limited, among others. Represented by the Director of Special Duties, Henry Agbebire Kuku, emphasized that aviation industry is highly sensitive to bad weather and climate change, noting that aviation business is a risk without stakeholders taking collaborative efforts on carbon emissions. The authorities, however, galvanizing airport stakeholders across the country to deepen collaboration towards reducing carbon emissions, especially at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in the nation's commercial capital. Wife of Abia State Governor Priscilla Oti has called on all stakeholders to unite against violence and injustice that affects women and girls in society. Oti made the call during a summit to mark the end of year 2024, 16 days of activism against gender-based violence (GBV) held in Umuahia, the state capital. She says the fight against gender-based violence is not one that any individual or organization can win alone, as she revealed that the state government is not relenting in the fight against GBV. She also said the state government has inaugurated the GBV response team and the GBV management committee to bring together key stakeholders in order to ensure a coordinated response to GBV cases. Let's turn to other stories for you now. In a move to address challenges faced by displaced persons, National Agricultural Land Development Authority and the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons have signed a Memorandum of Understanding for the Renewed Hope Restoration Project. The event at the National Assembly Library and Resource Center was a collaboration under President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope to restore livelihoods and empower displaced communities. Executive Secretary of the authority, Cornelius Adebayo, described the agreement as more than a legal instrument. He said it is a declaration to tackle hardship faced by refugees, migrants, and internally displaced persons, IDPs. Chairman of the 25 local government councils in Delta State have been charged to set up task forces as required by the 2021 Delta State Livestock Breeding, Rearing and Marketing Regulation Law for its effective implementation. Executive Assistant to Delta State Governor on Public Enlightenment Projects and Policies, Olisa Ifeajika, gave the charge at a one-day sensitization assembly on the anti-open grazing law for the people of Ika Federal Constituency held at Agbo. He said the law needs to be implemented, hence the need to enlighten the people on the importance of the law and stressed the need of Livestock Management Committee of the State and Local Government Task Force to synergize in ensuring that violators of the law face consequences for their actions. Ife Ajika deplored the incessant clashes between herders and farmers and ensured that implementation of the law would stem the disturbing trend. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has proposed reforms to improve the country's electoral system following lessons learned from the 2023 general election and subsequent off-cycle polls. The Commission stated this at a meeting with resident electoral commissioners in Abuja, confirming it will soon present its legislative proposals to the relevant committees in the Senate and House of Representatives. The Commission's chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, outlined the nation's vision to address long-standing challenges and modernize election management. He said ahead of future elections, the Commission recommended using computer-generated voting slips for those without permanent voter cards, noting that PVCs should no longer be the sole requirement for voting, especially with the introduction of the Bimodal Voter Accreditation System, also known as BVAS. The Nigerian Police Force Sokoto State Command has arrested one Austin Anthony, who is accused of being a notorious gang leader terrorizing the state and specializing in car theft. The suspect, who was on the high watch list of the command and arrested along Benny Kebbi Road, was intercepted by the police patrol team of Bodinga Division. Briefing newsmen at the command headquarters in Sokoto, the spokesman of the command, ASP Ahmed Rufai, says the suspect, when accosted, introduced himself to the police officer as military personnel in order to get away with the said vehicle. The Nigerian Navy Oguta Naval Base has pledged tight security for the people of Eziosu community in Oguta local government area of Imo State during the upcoming Yuletide season. This assurance was given during a free medical outreach organized by the Navy in line with the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala's ambition to promote the health and well-being of residents. Correspondent Amarachi Ibe was there for Global Television.
In his address during the free medical checkup, the commanding officer of the Oguta Naval Base, Commando M.B. Sanusi, represented by the executive officer of the Oguta Naval Base, Commander Okeme Anthony, assured residents of the Navy's readiness to safeguard lives and property during the festive season.
This was aimed at fostering a better civil-military relations. Naval Base Oguta is really impressed with the turnout. We had over 300 persons for this medical outreach. But we assure the good people of Eziosu community that they will be safe. The Naval Base Oguta would ensure constant presence around here to make the season very enjoyable and peaceful and secured for them all.
The Navy's free medical outreach exercise provides a range of services, including blood pressure and blood sugar checks, consultations, distributions of essential medications and insecticide-treated nets. Many beneficiaries expressed gratitude.
I am very happy for the arrival of the mobiles for general treatment for our children and for the old.
I am very much excited because this is the first of its kind. Since 50 years ago or thereabouts, I've been in this community. I've never seen this kind of gesture.
Students from Eziosu Community School also benefited from the outreach, receiving sanitary pads, body spray and writing materials to support their hygiene and education.
The free medical checkup, everything that they have done, I pray that the Lord Almighty will replenish all the finances which they have used in coordinating this program. I pray that the Lord will replenish.
By the Navy's in our community, it's a free giving day of medications and other gifts for students. I'm very much happy to receive a gift from them, and here is my gift. I appreciate our efforts so much.
As the Yuletide season approaches, the Nigerian Navy's proactive efforts in Eziosu and its environs highlights their commitment to ensuring a safe, healthy, and joyful celebration for all. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
Amarachi Ibe there from Owerri, Moses Capital reporting. Thank you so much, Amarachi. You're watching the live broadcast of News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you from the nation's capital, Abuja. When the second half of News Cycle returns, Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, finalizes framework for establishment of $35 million renewable energy facility. Details of these as well as foreign and sports stories for you after the short break. Please do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us here on News Cycle. Let's turn to business for you. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has finalized the framework for the establishment of a $75 million ECOWAS Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Facility. The president of ECOWAS Commission, Dr. Aliyu Omar Touray, made the disclosure at the opening of the 93rd ordinary session of the ECOWAS Council of Ministers holding in Abuja. ECOWAS says it would need about $19 billion investment towards improving storage facilities, milling initiatives, and enhancing mechanization in paddy production. Touray also commended the ongoing work on the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline project as part of some of the integrated project for the community. President Bola Tinubu's initiative on alternative energy source has attracted over $1 billion in direct foreign investments, FDI, to the Oil and Gas Free Zone Authority's Liberty in the last 17 months. Chief Executive Officer of Oil and Gas Free Zone Authority, Bamanga Jada, disclosed this at a sensitization program on CNG infrastructural development at the One Oil and Gas Free Zones in Port Harcourt. This was as key stakeholders in the transportation, environmental, and oil and gas sectors said the compressed natural gas initiative of President Tinubu is one of the major drivers of industrialization. Let's take it beyond the shores of Nigeria now. Outgoing United States President Joe Biden says he has commuted the sentences of nearly 1,500 criminals and pardoned 39 others convicted of non-violent crimes in what the White House now calls the largest single-day act of clemency in the history of the U.S. The White House says the nearly 1,500 people granted commuted sentences, the most ever in a single day, had been serving them at home for at least 1 year. Biden says America is built on the promise of possibility and second chances, noting that as president, he has the great privilege of extending mercy to people who have demonstrated remorse and rehabilitation. The president this month faced criticism for issuing an official pardon for his son Hunter, who was facing sentencing for 2 criminal cases, despite earlier assurances that he would not intervene in his son's legal troubles. Away from the United States now, Syria's new government has thanked 8 countries for swiftly reopening their diplomatic missions after a lightning rebel offensive ousted President Bashar al-Assad over this last weekend. The offensive, which took just 10 days to sweep across Syria and take the capital Damascus, stemmed the war and brought an end to more than half a century of brutal rule by the Assad clan. The rebels, led by Islamist group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, appointed an interim prime minister to lead the country until March, and the new government's Department of Political Affairs issued a statement thanking Egypt, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Bahrain, Oman, and Italy for resuming the activities of their diplomatic missions in Damascus. And now time for some excitement. Let's turn to sport for you. The Swedish Prosecution Authority has announced that the inquiry into rape allegations against French footballer Kylian Mbappe has been closed due to a lack of sufficient evidence to proceed. This according to multiple reports, as the allegations had drawn international attention, casting a shadow over the footballer star's career. Reports say Mbappe, who has consistently denied the allegations, has yet to make an official statement regarding the decision. His legal team had previously emphasized his commitment to due process. Paris Saint-Germain will move again for Victor Osimhen when the transfer window reopens in January. The The League One champions were linked with a move for the Nigerian international in the summer, but the player instead joined Turkish Super League champions Galatasaray on a long loan deal. This loan deal includes a 75 million euro clause valid for January, and any club interested in the forward next month would need to add an extra fee to free him from Galatasaray. The Nigerian international, who has scored 10 goals and provided 5 assists in 30 appearances across all competitions for Galatasaray, is currently recuperating from a muscle injury. Sibe back again in bright lights. And that's your news cycle here on Global Television, and came to you from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We would love to remind our viewers that we are on DSTV channel 365, Star Times 276, and free to air on Nigecomsat. Kindly follow us across all of our social media platforms using @Global TVNG, as well as other handles as you now see on your screen, so you can engage with us. I'm Oyagmo Fwegbe. I'll see you again at 8 o'clock West African time for News Prime.